Now, without further delay, I would like to invite Sir Mmhonlumo Kikon to kindly take the time for further discussions on the book. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for giving your time and to write this very important book. I want to applaud his effort. There are not many people, although we want our elders to write more about their experiences and also um, the Naga political history as we see it. But we are grateful that he has made the time to write a very timely book. I say timely because we hear and we read a lot about the Naga political movement. Even today, it's as relevant as it was in the past. And there are many, uh, political statements that come out daily, but we don't know, and especially this generation don't know the basis of those statements. It's important that we document our history. It's important that we have conversations over it. And to this end, I'm very proud and grateful to Sri Chingwang Konyak, a man of his stature, taking, time in spite of his busy schedule to write a very important and relevant book. And it brings to the Naga, the young Naga people, the relevance of what our history was and how we need to look at it. So today I was looking forward to having this conversation with him. It is timely, as I said already. And without further ado, I would just start with stating or asking him the obvious question. Sir, why did you write this book?
Thank you. You see, I had been thinking, our Naga people talk Nagas. We do not know how our origin. So, introductory the Nagas. You see, many writers have pinpoint about the term Nagas. Even some people wrote that Nagas are naked or not all this thing. But you see, the first contact with the Nagas is the Ahom. Ahom kingdom is in the Sipsagar, is the Ahom kingdom. And bordering Ahom is the Konyak's villages, these like Kongan and Namsang. Now Namsang comes under Longning. So most probably, when these border people, the Ahoms, and then these people when they met, most probably the Ahoms people asked these Kongan and then Namsang villages, how you call the people? They might have said that the Nagas. You know, the Nagas, these villages and the call the people Nagas. So the Nagas started, I think, from there. Too many writers, and then the many things like Naga meant in the Konyak, Naga meant the air person. That is also there. But then this Ahom, which are in the kingdom in Sipsagar, because of their proximity, when they met them, the Naga might have come up. That is one. Now the second point.
Why did you write this book?
No, that's why the another thing people may not agree with me, but our people talk that time immemorial about the Nagas. But the Nagas came after British. British came after defeating the Burmese and signed this Treaty of Yandobo in 1826. Then this our king of the Burma has given all these things to the Britishers because they lost. So Naga came after that only. There was no tribes also. When you go village, within a village, there is a clan, I mean, Morong, Makhel, like that. But Naga, we are Mongolian. Tibetan Mongol, I mean, Chinese race we are. In that, you can say the timing model that one. But Nagas as a Naga came only after British. British came to, I mean, after defeating the Burmese, I mean, and then this Naga name came after that only. That is one thing. I think you will find it from my book, that is the thing. Another thing, this Naga political movements. Then after that, I started this the First World War, where these 2,000 Nagas laborers went to help German as a liberator, the Allied forces, they went to France. So after the return, most probably they have seen that other countries, people like that, that's why they started this Naga group and all these things. And there are many, even, they may not agree, but even those who are national workers now, I don't think many of them know about the events, the historical events, and how the Naga movement started and all these things. And especially this NNC, the first was Naga Hills District Tribal Council, formed, that was formed by this, the DC Kohima Pausi in 1945. In 1946, that Naga Council team met, and then at Ukha, this Naga Hills Tribal Council, Naga Hills District Tribal Council was converted into NNC. Yeah. So that is the beginning. Then when this NNC after that, in 1946, when cabinet mission came, the NNC has submitted a 4 points memorandum. That is, number one, he said that they stand for solidarity of all
Sir,
the Naga tribes.
can I interrupt you before we get there?
Ah.
Because I'm going to ask you questions on those.
So, no, why I wrote this is
Because
our younger generations should know the factual thing. Just calling ourselves Naga, that's not going to help. Even the political settlement and all these things, you have to see the historical events. So, I have not written all these things, but the factual things, events, notifications, and what happened, all this, sequentially I have written this, so that our people, a young generation knows the historical facts.
So I'll probably be the only person after him to have read his book, which was launched today. So I'm fascinated by the review of history is done, and in the book, although he has just it's just 1-2 pages about the background of the origin of the term Naga, and he really flows through history in a very quick manner. There are stories and historical events which many people, many Nagas are not aware of, and he has actually covered that. So I stopped him from mentioning the 4 points memorandum submitted by NNC. And so I'll ask him questions about that. Can you elaborate on the 4 points memorandum? And I've seen that in the 4 points memorandum, you have the basis of why the original differences between AZ Piso and D Aliba MT started. So I want you to specifically mention what the 4 points are and whether you agree with what is your analysis of how the difference between D Aliba MT and AZ Piso started on the basis of the 4 points.
You see,
And who was it submitted to?
when the cabinet mission came, NNC submitted that 4 points. Number one is that
This is 1928.
no, 1946.
1946.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the civil commission,
Yeah.
but 1946. Because 1928 the NNC
Was
not
not
formed.
it was Naga Club. Yeah. We're just fast forwarding the.
So, number one is the NNC stands solidly for all the Nagas, including the unadministrative area. Number two, the protest that Assam should not be, merged with Bengal, because there was a zonal system before independence, India, Pakistan. So they have a fear that, they are afraid that if we were put under this East Pakistan, because the zonal system they were working. So because of that fear, the potential that the Bengal or Assam should not be included in this in that zonal system with the Bengal. Number three is important. NNC say that number three, in the free India, Nagaland should be in Assam province. Autonomy should be given to Nagas in a free India and within Assam province. So they don't talk about independence, but they only want autonomy in a free India. That is important. Number three. Number four, they say that there should be a separate electorate for the Nagas. So that means we are having now separate electorate. As a state, we are having a separate electorate. So the demand was the Nagas area should be given autonomy within the province of Assam in the free India. That is the thing. That is the first talking about this Nagas position.
And we did get 3 assembly constituencies under Assam
That was after independence.
after independence.
And
Yeah.
that was
It was, but the basis of that 3 constituency was this
so
memorandum,
now,
this resolution. Sorry.
coming to that your point, Fijo in Alibai. You see, many do not know how the differences within the NNC. Fijo came to light under 1946. And initially, the other member did not receive him very well. That I am not going to, it will be then 1947, in the month of June, the governor Hyder Ali and then the NNC signed this 9-point agreement. Everything was alright. The 9-point is that the differences is in the 9-point. NNC that 10 years it will be a special period, and during that, after that, what type of administration that the Nagas wants. So, government India view was that whether after 10 years we want to move with Assam or with the Manipur, that they never thought of the 10 year for the separation. But within the NNC, Fijo and others thought that no, that 10 or 9 or the 10 years, the 9-point, the last 9-point, 10 years special period, that is for sovereignty. The difference started. And immediately after signing, instead of trying to implement that 9-point which they have signed, Fijo and others wanted to go to Delhi. It was in July. Aliba said that, what is the point? To meet whom? India, just in the words of Indian independence, going to Delhi to meet whom, and then who will give the so-called Indian territory for independence? Nobody will. So he refused to go. He told them, but others people were adamant and they left. And everyone talk about this meeting, Mahatma Gandhi. And the delegation was led by Long Riao, near the river Long na? He led the delegation and met Mahatma Gandhi on 19th July
1947.
19th July 1947, just before independence. And he told him that we want to separate, so don't like that. But Gandhiji said, no, we don't want under British, that's why the Britishers are living and all these things. So he said that we should be together like that, but if you want to go, nobody will force it. And that I'm keeping a very trip with it. But the delegation did not meet Jawaharlal Nehru. Because though Gandhiji was the father of the nations, he was not in the interim government. Indian National Congress formed interim government in 2nd September 1946. And Viceroy was the president, Nehru was the vice president, and Nehru was looking after external affairs and Commonwealth relations. So Nehru, after independence, Nehru will become a prime minister. So you should have met the Jawaharlal Nehru, who is in the government. But he didn't meet Mahatma Gandhi, father nation, but he's outside the government. So the Nagas are talking about that, what Gandhiji said. You see, just because like today I am not in the government. I may say this and that, but to people who are in the government, what they say that matters. So our people do not differentiate that. That is one thing.
So, I mean, just for the context, T. Aliba MT was the first president of Naga National Council. And it was during his time as president of NNC that this discussion was had over the 9-point agreement, which was signed by Sir Akbar Haidari. Now, he has mentioned about the visit to Delhi and the meeting with Mahatma Gandhi, which everyone knows. But the context is something which he is sharing with us today. But my question was, so the decision to go and meet the Prime Minister or to meet Mahatma Gandhi at the NNC meeting in Wokha was actually not supported by the President NNC. It was a decision which was supported by AZ Piso and others. But the delegation was led by Reverend Long Riao.
That time he was not reverend.
He was not Reverend then, huh? Okay, so Long Riao. In that Haidari agreement, there was the Bordoloi interim report. And the interim report mentions something to that effect that you were saying, that the position taken or the interpretation of the 9-point agreement by T. Aliba Inti was that it was that after 10 years, Nagas can decide whether they'll remain in Assam or Manipur. That's something which many people don't know. Whereas you said in your book that Piso interpreted it to mean that after 10 years, Nagas can decide whether they want to be an independent country or be part of India. So that's the historical contention that exists. And today he has addressed that. I would like you to further give us, some explanation on that aspect, whether it had impacted the NNC as an organization right from the start because of this differences on the interpretation of 9-point agreement. Because in the interesting things which he also written about that I find is one clause says that all those areas which the British transferred to Sipsagar forest areas, the Naga forest areas which the British transferred to Sipsagar and Nagaon district should be brought back to the Nagaites. So that's a point which is there in the 9-point agreement, but we'll not get there now later. But now I wanted to ask him to further explain whether that contention between T. Aliba MT on the 10 years, on the action to be taken after the 10 years period, uh, impacted the growth or the strength of the NNC that time.
You see, after that, there were lots of discussion in Gokchong and Kohima.
At the NNC level.
Energy level about this time. Few wanted, this discuss a secession, that means sovereignty. Aliba said, no, NNC is to discuss about this 9-point only, not for separation and all this thing. So one of the meetings, it is there in the book. Fijo said that as a Nangami, I am in support of this implementation of 9-point agreement. But as an independent or individual, I am for sovereignty. See, in the NNC level, that is kind of the differences was developed like that. So within that, this division among the Nagas, which we have seen today, mushrooming up so many factions. Even in the beginning NNC, that there was no consensus in all issues. So you have seen how NNC, then after federal, how it has split, then like that, and today, say 26 or 27, and then faction is over. So this, right from the NNC, the differences was there. There are moderate groups, and one is extremist group. Moderate group wants that 9 violence, and then they should go, peaceful made. But the extremists say no, we'll fight. So the seeds of divisions within the Nagas has started right from the NNC.
So, in your perspective, what do you mean by extremists?
Extremists mean who want to fight and who want to separate. The moderate group says that no, we will not fight, we will go by 9 violence. These are the two differences.
In your book, it's very interesting that you say that because before we go to the 16-point agreement, since you already mentioned the two groups that existed, one which favored armed struggle, one which favored non-violent means of protest. So you have mentioned in your book, and I'll get to the other part, but the first part, since we are dealing, since you mentioned the armed group, the extremist group, and all that. Before we discuss 16-point agreement, before we come to that, there were many NNC resolutions, and especially in 1947, because there were so many meetings of the NNC. One which strikes out is October 22 to 25, 1947, which was held in Wokha. There, one of the resolutions which stays today with all of us is that the Naga national flag was adopted in the NNC meeting around that time, and a resolution was passed that this is the Naga national flag, which was passed by the NNC. The second, and I'll ask you on that, because today there's a whole lot of discussion on the Naga political issue. One of the major discussion today is the position taken by all the Naga groups on the Naga flag. And I would like to ask you whether the Naga flag belongs to one faction, the NNC, or the Naga people.
No, that belongs to all
Means the Naga people.
Naga people.
So, it is something which originated through a resolution in 1947. A lot of us don't know about that. We only heard about the story that this flag was designed because Pizzo had a dream of this flag, and it was designed on the basis of his dream. So, in the adoption of the Naga national flag in Wokha during the NNC meeting, was this discussed? Do you think it was?
I only see I'm only quoting the resolution.
Yeah, you're quoting the resolution. Yeah, but you must have.
Inside how was it discussing,
Mm.
whether there was any differences, that I do not know. I'm only quoting, I put only that resolution there.
Yes. So in that resolution, I'm just asking you this because you must have reflected on it. But moving on, the same resolution. There are 3 points I wanted to discuss. One is the national flag, the origin of the national flag that we have today, that we see today. Number two, which is very interesting, is that there was a resolution passed that Assam, and I quote his book. Here, the resolution is moved to because they didn't want the Naga areas to be divided. The intention or the proposal was to take away Wakching and Tunsang area as you write it. I have two issues with that to understand, and they wanted the I think government of India wanted to take Wakching and Tunsang area and keep it under the direct supervision of the Assam government or the union government. One point is it is the genesis of the creation of the state of Nagaland. We'll come to that portion as well. But the other thing is instead of Mon, he's saying Wakching and Tunsang. I've asked him before, but I want to ask him in your presence. Why Wakching? Why do you use that? Or why did they use that and not Mon?
You see, Wakching was brought under Mukoksong subdivision, 1910. These 14 villages. So the rest were left out unadministered area, including Tunsang. Even in Tunsang, 6 villages in this Chari area. I forgot the name of the villages, but it was in 1918 or something like that. They themselves wanted to be in Mokoksong subdivision. But in the case of this Wakching, because of Orjan collieries, this Wakching area was 14 villages was brought under British India administration under Naga Hills Mokoksong subdivision, and the rest were left out. So that time, Assam government wanted that Wakching should also go to this unadministered Nifa. So that is the reason. But NNC stood very firmly that they will not allow that. So that's why this Wakching area remained in Nagaland. And then this Wakching was under Naga Hill district under Mokoksong subdivision. But when 1957, when NSTA was formed, Naga Hill Tunsang area, and then this President Mon and then Wakching area comes under this Naga Hill Tunsang area together.
This reminds me of the earlier resolutions of NNC, where they have actually stated that all the majority Naga areas in North Kachar in Assam and the Tirap Trek also be included in the Naga Hills. This is a resolution of the NNC.
Yeah.
And although it did not materialize, there was already a resolution to that. And you mentioned that in your book as well. Any comments on that? The Nagas in North Kachar and the Tirap Trek, which was like part of NEFA.
This there was a resolutions. Now, when NSTS was formed, because without connecting that sentence would be incomplete. When Naga Health Tunsang area was formed in 1st December 1957, that NSTA. That time, Tunsang was brought, Tunsang and Tunsang tribe or Tunsang frontier division of Nifa and Naga Health district of Assam was combined and formed in STA, Naga Health Society. The Tira frontier divisions was a Tira frontier division is also Naga area, but unfortunately, I said that is debatable. Why Tira frontier divisions Naga area was left out? As far as this Haplong side, because the area is too small, and then because the Kacharis are also there, or we most probably, though the NNC and also the Patan, they give more importance to this Tunsang and then that area. So I will not be able to say why the reason that this Haplong area is stayed on.
But you did mention that all these were part of Naga areas, and
Yeah,
NNC had acknowledged that in their resolutions. The other, the last part of that resolution, which is very interesting, and even today, many people don't know about it, and he brings out that resolution. In one of the resolutions, because in the October meeting in Woka in 1947, the Mao delegation came, and you mentioned that, and they discussed about the Naga areas in Manipur. And the NNC resolution says that we will send a delegation of NNC to the Maharaja of Manipur to discuss about the Naga areas in Manipur. So it's a very interesting statement. This is was this the first visit or first meeting of the NNC where the Maos were present, or uh, what was it like? Do you know, or do you have
I'm
further?
not aware of it. I only quoted from their resolutions. That the NNC sent a delegation to meet the Maharaja of Manipur because of these Maos, Naga people, most probably they wanted to be together. That's why they sent. But what was the result? What was the discussion? That is not mentioned.
So that's for us to find out. So I just wanted to get this out of the way, because some of the resolutions which mentioned about all this impacts us till today. We carry on with that debate. And before I get into the more interesting and intense one, I'll just ask you one question, your personal opinion. Because in all the resolutions of the NNC, even in the discussions, and even from your assessment, the entire Naga Hills Twinsang area is the basis of the creation of the state of Nagaland.
Yeah.
And number one. Number two, you also mentioned just now that Tirap Trek is not part of the formation of the state of Nagaland, because, I mean, you didn't mention much, but you say that it's debatable. I will not get into that, but I want to ask you, how do you reflect on the creation of the state of Nagaland by bringing together all these areas that the NNC demanded to the present demand of Frontier Nagaland?
One of Frontier Nagaland or the creation of the state, which one?
Led to both, in the sense that when Nagaland state was created, you brought in two areas.
You see, the creation of Nagaland states. When this NNC passed a resolution non-cooperations, and then form a federal government and fight lots of situation. There was operation, villages were burned, there was molestation, then lots of abroad. And then cropping up the villages. So seeing this situation, concerned Naga leaders like Sasivan Iyer, few of them called a meeting of those people who are available in the Kohima nearby, not all the tribes. And they had a meeting and then they decided that they should convince the Naga people convention. And asking all the tribes to pass the resolutions for Naga political settlement or like that. So all the tribes passed a resolution and came, and then first he had a meeting in August 28th or 22nd August 1957 at Kohima. That was starting. Because if they allowed the people to suffer or like that, then it will not be good. That's why, seeing the condition of our people, because there was lots of killing, raping, the burning of villages, grouping of the villages. So now the people who have not seen may be criticizing those leaders, but there was no political party. It was not a political party, but it was a concerned Naga leaders who thought that at least something is done, the Naga will be finished. That's why he started this. And after that, all the tribals, and I used to say that for the first time, this entire tribes representative had a meeting and formed this Naga people convention. They may not like it, but when we talk about this Naga political movement, all the tribes had not made. Even the NNC formation, all the Naga tribes is not formed. Even we talk about plebiscite, we were not there. I told one day, Adam, you also not there. Because Manipur, Danghol and Mawati were also not there. And people from this now Eastern Nagaland, ENPU, we were not participated in that. Whether the plebiscite is taken properly or not, that I have written in the book, but I'm not going to detail. But even the plebiscite was held only in Naga Heritage Sekap Assam, not the entire Naga area. That is a fact. Then, when Naga state was formed, people of the present ENPU area was administration, many area, no administration, no school, nothing, no communications. So I still remember when I was in college, when Nagaland got a statehood, recruitments for ESC or second officer, not ESC, second officer, then ESC like that, and DSP for recruitment officer used to come to Shillong, and Nagas, many Naga graduate in other work, working in the Assam Secretariat or NIFA Secretariat. The NIFA Secretariat also. So that way, I mean, the first time when the state was formed, only few educated people in the entire Nagaland. So these people, without going through the NPSC, there was no departmental exam, many were recruited directly like that. In the ENPU area, there were hardly 1 or 2 graduate posts probably, and medical college is hardly maybe 10, 20 like that. So that way in education, the ENPU was backward, improvement also that's why. Now the gap is, that's why the ENPU people feel that unless they have a separate administration, they will not be able to catch up with the rest of the Nagas. So that was the studying. The thing. And I wrote one book on that. Why there is a demand for frontier Nagaland. I have given all the detail how amenities. So the intention was not to go away from Nagaland, but to uplift the people. The one that some administration separate funding like that. Because we had 10 years peace of cooperation. I had an opportunity to be Minister to Chang Affairs. Though the word peace of cooperation was very nice, but there was no separate funding. The only, he said from the consolidated fund of India, the governor will allot equitable allocation, etc. So everything depends on the department and then the state government. So that way, even though the 10 years peace of cooperation, nothing much. Yes, we have developed, we have built a road, we have opened a new school. I have given my this farewell speech in 1973 when we decided to discontinue this special provision after 10 years. In my aspect, I have given all the how much school, how many schools, then dispensary, hospital, road were there before 10 years. And after 10 years, how much that detail, it is still in the record. So anyway, this why the ENPO wants them separate is because educationally, economically, developmentally, they are far, far behind the rest of the state. That is the reason.
I'm just thankful to you for switching between the two. Although the similarities is something which you have mentioned in your book. That's why I asked. Now I'll just ask him three more questions and I'll open it to the floor for questions. Three last but the most contentious questions that he addresses in his book. Sometimes, of course, because he's been several times legislator, he's been 2 times Lok Sabha MP. It's like had a stellar career in politics. I think there are very few like him in the state of Nagaland who has achieved that level. Today, he's the president emeritus of the Naga People's Front, and therefore, these three questions are in reflection of the critical moments in Naga history, which has actually, uh, you know, uh, shaped what we are today. Number one. Number two, which will also give us a window of opportunity to look into the past, which carried over or spilled over to our generation. So let's, without further ado, the first question. When Pizzo advocated armed struggle and T. Sakre said non-violent, adopted the non-violent method of struggle, there was a rift, and that rift reshaped the entire politics of the Naga people. So we all heard you say, the extremist group. You're using the word specifically, extremist. And from the moment the first negotiations, I'm not mentioning the visit of the delegation led by Longri Yao to Delhi, but the first negotiations that took place under the Atokilon sirship of Kukato Sukai, where he sent, because of his differences with Pizzo, he sent Vizol and Suiza to London to meet with Pizzo to negotiate, to make him understand or to explain to him what the negotiation was all about. What do you think has been the fallout of the differences between Sakre and Pizzo on the Naga political issue, between the differences between Pizzo and Kukato Sukai on the first negotiations?
But let me start with this desacralling and Pizzo's group. You see, desacralling, Chipitasuke, Tianagami, all this group. Even Mendambo Kitan was also an NNC, Alipa MD was an NNC. So, those moderate group who wants that demand will go, but not on violence way, but peaceful means. So the differences work out, and that's why, Sakri was kidnapped, and within 2 days he was eliminated. And that's why these Fijo, Dienangami and then Jibitsasuke, they all came out. And then they were in this Naga People Convention, this thing. Now, peace talk. First, in 1964, it was the month of February, I think. Naga NPCC, Nagaland Party Church Council, is meeting at Oka. It was about 5,000 people came. There they passed a resolution that there should be ceasefire, there should be peace mission. So, when they passed that, NNO was in the first government, elected government in Nagaland. NNO met in the month of March at Dimapur. And then NNO has also supported that. And then that again in Nagaland Assembly, unanimous resolution was passed to have a ceasefire and then peace mission. That was starting. Then this peace mission with Jebak Narayan and then Jaliha and all these things of form. Even foreigner, Michael Scott was allowed to join because Fijo, he's the host of the Fijo in London, Michael Scott. Then ceasefire was signed in 6 September 1964. Then after that, the first meeting was, negotiation was started at Chitima between the government officials led by Kondovia, and then the federal group. In the first meeting, the federal group objected peacefully our chief minister's attention.
Presence.
So Kondovia said, no, this is to a certain extent it is because of state government that we are having this thing. And this, you have agreed that state government and chief minister also should be present. So in the first meeting, underground this, that time we didn't call it national work, we call it underground at this time. So that was a study. And then we had 9 rounds of talk in the government level. Government official level, Official level, there was 9 rounds of talk. Then we wanted to have a talk with the Prime Minister. So after second, I think most probably the second and third, we had the talk with Mrs. Indira Gandhi. Kokatu Sakai sent a message to Fijo, who is in London, that solution is nearing. So you have to come in order. Then Fijo, instead of coming, he wanted a messenger should come to London. So from underground, this side, Nagaland, left side, we sent Mr. Rizal and then this Suiza. Suiza is a former Congress MP from Manipur. He's a Trangko tribe. These two were sent. Rizal told Fijo that Nagaland is not like before. During 1964 election also, there was no party has imposed, no party is interfered. That means government India has not interfered. And also the administration, Nagaland administration is also no outside interference. So you must come and see yourself. Though Fijo did not doubt the honesty of Vizol, but he refused to go. So Vizol and then Suiza returned to Nagaland empty-handed. See, that different. So that's
No, but
Then-
what was the main difference between Koto Sukai and Kiso?
no, that's why. That is thing. Then most probably there was some suspicions. There is a talk. People may. I'm not trying to create a tribalism, but I'm only narrating what is happened. There was a suspicion that some people most probably has instigated or something that the solution should be in the Fizo's leadership, not Decima's. That's what the people talk. I'm not witness, but how people are talking and how things develop. So going on that way, that's why finally there is removal of Kokaiju's this Skatusu first. Then after that, not the parliamentary form of government, the Prime Minister Kokaiju Sakai was Prime Minister, who led the delegation for talk. But he wanted to change it to presidential form, and then Kokaiju Sakai was removed. So all these things is there. So that is within the federal group, the division. So two is even though they may not say that here we are divided, but we see the evidence shows that there is a division within the federal. That's why this they are split in, and then the revolutionary group also, or all these Argent, all these things happen. Then 6 rounds of talk they had. They still, because of this, they don't come down from the stand. I am told, Prime Minister Indira Gandhi told Kogai Sukai anything short of sovereignty, I cannot compromise with the security of India. So, except anything short of sovereignty will not be there, but below that. But underground, it didn't come down, they stand there. And for further meeting, some of the delegate members met the then foreign minister, this, and then deputy minister, external affairs. So Dinesh Singh is the foreign minister, and then Jalpa Singh was the minister of state, external affairs. When they met, he said, no point meeting the prime minister because they have not come down, so it's no point meeting the prime minister. And then next day, after 1 day or 2 days, the then deputy secretary, I think, ML Company, who was the DC Guima also, he was in the home ministry. He told this Romeo, somebody, that you have to vacate. They were staying in Hyderabad house, so you have to vacate because some other delegation was coming. This Russian delegation was coming. But they got offended and hurriedly left. And that was the end of the this negotiation or talk during that federal time. So that is. Then after that, what happened? They split in all these things.
So one question which you've not mentioned, but which is because you mentioned the response, the offer by Indira Gandhi to Batu Sukai, and in your book also you mentioned his Batu Sukai's response to Indira Gandhi. But the discussion today is about at that point of time, the difference also between the Swissa's proposal and his response. And also, as a corollary, the offer of Bhutan status. It was entertained. Can you enlighten the crowd on whether Nagas were offered Bhutan status at that time and what happened to it?
You see, during that time, Sikkim, we talk about the Sikkim status and the Bhutan status. Because then only 1975, Bhutan or New Sikkim merged with India. So exactly, I do not know whether this is Sikkim status or Bhutan status. But Mrs. Gandhi told the delegations that I cannot compromise with the sovereignty of security of India. So anything short of sovereignty. That means maybe a Sikkim status or like that. Otherwise, right from the beginning, government India was said is autonomous. But even that when this is discussed about this the 9 point also. So, but ours, we don't want a smaller thing, but today it has come down. You see, that time India was weak also. And then they were trying to offer maximum, not sovereignty, but maximum. But we said we don't want. So today, that time 100 rupees, today is 25 rupees. Or see, like that. Things have changed. Now today, India, we all know how India has come out. So these are the position.
Okay, I'll not ask your opinion on Bhutan status, but I want to end my questions. Ask you, on the two very pronounced positions you take in your book. One, you say that the idea of sovereignty, and number two, you say that it's most likely impossible for the demand for the integration of Naga areas. Can you explain a little bit on that? Why take such a position?
1826, the Treaty of Yandobo was signed. Then, in that, all were given to India by King of Awa. So Nagaland also, Naga area also comes under that, number one. And 1837, Burma and Assam, the Patgoi, the present Patgoi range was agreed as a boundary between Assam and then Burma, not India. Because that time the India is not come. So Burma and Assam. Then 1866, Nagahel's district of Assam was formed. And Djibouti was the first district headquarters. Later on, in 1887 or something, shifted to Buka, then from Buka to Kohima, that district headquarters. So, and then 24th December 1875, Government of India issued Gazette notifications. District boundary, defining the district boundary between Nagahel district of Assam and Manipur. Then Nagahel district of Assam and then Nagaon. Then with Sibsagar. Only thing is this, that our side, they have not surveyed properly between Brahmaputra, Kam, Irrawaddy. There are lots of Naga area, Naga villages, but that is not service. That's why that area was left out without defining. That is it. And you see, so the Manipur, why it is difficult? When Burma invited Manipur and Assam, Manipur Raja, Kacha Raja, and Assam, this Manipur and Kacha was invited by Manipur, Burma. Then Ahom, they all helped the British East India Company, and then the Burmese, the Awa and his Sipai were defeated. So, though they are Naga areas, this the present Mao, Tagore, all these things, but they were under Maharajas. So, because Maharaja helped the British, that's why the area was given to live with the Manipur. Another thing is that when India became independent, Manipur did not come in. Manipur joined India only in 1949. So the difficulty for integration of that Manipur Naga area, we don't say that they are not Naga, but yeah, because these days, fact and figures, even you have to follow, not just talking for further time, that is not going to work. Then coming to this Tira frontier, Tuensang, then this Tira were under the fund. There was no Arunachal. It was directly under government area. And Tira frontier was also Naga areas. Along with Tuensang frontier division, the Tira frontier would have been brought. It would have been easy. But now, though my own people, the Wanjus are Kunyaks. Konyak, we all call Wanju, but the Konyak name is different. When British came to Tamlo from Mokokchung came, when they asked how you call the people, in Tamlo word Konyak, Matan, so from there, Konyak came. Otherwise, we were all Wanju. So now it will be difficult. I want that, we all want that, but it will be difficult now because government India will not, while trying to solve one state problem, it will not create a problem of 3 states, Assam, Manipur, and Arunachal. So, and this become historical events. So that's why I say, whether people like it or not, but I said it's a integration is a distant dream. Let's not talk about sovereignty. Because I've seen the historical facts, no? And I've given in the book all this how our area comes under British India. And another thing I wanted to tell the Naga people. We all talk that India occupation. But I only say, even in our meeting all the time, India has inherited from the British. Because Naga area was not occupied first by the Indian. All the India area, and then our area was occupied by the British. And when British left, they left as a part and parcel of India. You will find in the House of Commons, even in Naga area, when MB Wells asked, It was the Prime Minister Ali said it. Yeah, part of Assam. So these are historical facts. Even that's why I say that a sequence of historical events. So I don't write many things, but the people should know the factual thing necessarily. And that's why Joe book is very small. Yeah. But the facts are there. So you read carefully, especially younger generation that you should know. Because our people, even I am doubtful, many of these our nation worker leaders, I don't know, but many of them do not know this, the factual thing. The only thing they're fighting for the independence and for tax collection. I think they should read also. Then the factual, because who doesn't want to be big? Why doesn't want to be 70? I have read many, every country has got a problem. Like Spain, the one that they passed even the referendum, but it didn't. So almost all the countries got a problem. Ethnic problem, tribal problem. In the Muslim country, Shia and Sunni do the same religion, but you do. So the problem is not only the, even India, not only the Kasis are there, Karus are there, the Bakers are there, some others. See, different, even the northeast side. So these are the things. So why I am saying it, because to me, whether people may agree or not, but it will be a fatal exercise, wasting about time.
Quite candid, and I know him from before. He minces no words, especially with his opinions on Naga political issues. So we will open the house for questions. I just have to request you that just raise your hand. Volunteer will give you the mic. Can I get the volunteer here with the mic? I want to request you to limit your questions to questions. Please don't give us a history lesson. We've already had enough of that. Just kidding. But yeah, please be specific and ask your questions. Yeah. Thank you. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, sir. First of all, congratulations on having your book launched. I actually have two questions.
Please introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name is Kivi Sohe. I came all the way from Kohima to attend this event. Yeah. So, in your opinion, which would you rate as the greatest achievement of AZ Fizo? Would it be the 1947 Naga independence or the 1951 Naga plebiscite?
You mean the Declaration of Independence?
Yes.
August 14.
14th August, yeah, 1947, yes.
You see, I forgot it. NNC I have gone through all these things, but the NNC, there is no resolution passed by NNC for Naga. But Fizo, according to scholars also, that Fizo declared in 1940, 14 August 1947, it's independent, and sent this telegram to UNO and then come India. That is the thing. The last 13 and 14 August 1947, NNC met at Kohima. They passed a resolution to Paikot. Paikot 15 August. But not, there's no resolution to declare independent. But Fizo declared. That is what. Another thing, you are mentioning second one.
Yes. The second question is, in your opinion, what would be the long-term impact of the rift between AZ Fizo, Skatosu, and Kagato Sakai?
No, that the differences, they have a differences. That's why there is this scatter show and then Kagato Sakai be separated. And if we were united that time, whether we achieve anything or not, it would have been Naga unity and peaceful. But because of their differences, today we have so many factions, and that is the impact.
No, do another
Yeah, just,
the mic
I think I'm okay. I should be audible. Thank you, sir. Congratulations. Congratulations.
introduction.
Yeah. My name is Kanoto from Dibrugarh. So I live there. Just wanted to know very quickly why God of Sky was removed. This is something which we are trying to understand. Yeah, why he was removed. Yeah,
As Tokilong said.
from the prime minister.
According to that, Kagato Shogai is in a one line for calling a meeting to discuss about this whether to continue from and talk or to go for fight or something like that. It is in the book. But according to them, instead of having that meeting or instead of that discussing that subject, there was a different that to from a parliamentary form of government to a presidential form. So those who were with this Kagato Shogai said that no, but the other group they say they even say that the two members who were not members were constantly brought and then took the vote and then by one vote this Kagato Shogai was removed. Though he was removed, he was kept in one committee as a member. But eventually, Kagato Shogai, Skato Sho, all these the people who come together and then left the federal and then formed the action.
Hi everyone, congratulations sir. My name is Russell Hanzai, and I just want to ask, there's so many questions, but let's zero it on to what, not on history, but what is coming. It may be a silly question, but why so many factions are keep on increasing in the name of Naga freedom, and do you think that sovereignty will be achievable at what given point of time, if so? Thank you.
I'm also wondering, so there's only one sovereignty, but there's so many factions. And demand is, especially one side, even those knowing fully well that Myanmar will never come to us, we will never go to them. In 1997, I even went towards when this Kuli was alive. I went across the border and then I told them, you see, in November 1972, I went to Delhi as a Minister to Internal Affairs. I met the then Foreign Secretary, T.N. Kaur. Then after that, I met Mrs. Gandhi. There was a problem for the boundary, erection of barrier. So lots of problems. So I went there and I did that. And both of them say that no, it is an international issue, not personal. So I told only these people, you separate with this Kaplab and Kutwe. Even if Burma, that time it was Burma kept independent, we will not be able to come there. Even if India kept independent to us, they will not do it. So in a good way, you separate. And then have an emotional amenities support. But they don't listen to me. Every time they depart in a bitter way. Now there are so many groups. independence is one, which is not likely to achieve also. I want to be very true because I am not a person who just say it is in that, but a factually. So instead of coming together and then try to get something even a little more than the state of it. But 26 or 27 group, they are only from an extortion. He also knew, I think, that he will not get independent. But he want to live, no? 2005, there was a third Naga consultative committee meeting convened by the IM in Bangkok. I went as a representative of the then TNPO. There was no ENPO, there was TNPO. So in that meeting, when all the top leaders of the NSA, I told them, you have to, first thing is not solution, first is unite the Nagas, then go for solution. And I also told them that when LK Advani came to Kohima, we met with the memorandum for integration. He said, don't talk. In our India manifesto, we said that if we form a government, we will maintain the integrity of the northeastern states. That means you will maintain the border. And he also said, and the 16th point was signed by the Congress. Congress has been in power for so many years. Why they have not implemented? We don't know. Then Sonia Gandhi, when Congress president, when she addressed the election rally at Imphal, she said, you want the Congress, if Congress comes to power, we will maintain the integrity of Manipur state. So I told in the third council meeting, whether Congress or BJP, whoever comes to power in the center, their son will be the same. So first thing is Naga must unite first, then talk about solution. But you talk about solution first, and then now divide. Even if we don't achieve independence, if we are united, if we can live in peaceful, that is good for you and for me. But if we are divided, fighting among ourselves, that is not good for all of us. So that's why. So many groups coming. I also wonder to get this independent, even if we get independent with one, only so many groups. So that means they are not for the goal, but they are for something else. So that is my personal view. So I given in my concluding last my this thing about this my opinion. So you go through that.
Yeah.
Hi sir, congratulations on your book. I have a question. You mentioned here and before, my name my name is Limay. And then you mentioned in your book before, and you've talked about it in today's program as book launch as well, that the portfolios that were given earlier without the people actually clearing the civil service exam as IAS and ESC, and that still hold the portfolios today as per my research. Do you think the state government should take away those portfolios, or do you think the state government should continue with that with so many aspirants today? There's so many, you mentioned before as well, that so many people earlier had been given the positions of an IAS or an EAC without actually clearing the civil services and the state services. So do you think the state government has a say on this?
No. In the beginning, where I said it when I was in Shillong, there was no NBSC. There was no departmental but because immediately people want officers to run it. That's why they went and done the immediate people had selected one. You see, those days, lots of from Kerala and teachers, because we don't have, that's why we brought that. So those were the days where we need people for administration, for teachers and all that. But now things have changed. Now we are more strict. No backdoor appointment. So everything has a merit. We have to go. So that is the thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Mike.
Good evening, sir. Congratulations on your book. I just want to ask you one question, and I'm sure all the audience here would like to know about this. What was the main reason for the split of NSN in 1987 and 88?
Split.
Yes.
That I am not going to say, because that time in the Bangkok also when attack I told them.
But he's written a bit about it.
Yeah, I knew that NSN was formed because when Shillong Accord was signed, they were not consulted because they were outside. So that's why those people who were not consulted, they formed NSN. But how NSN was split into NSN IM, NSN K. Then after that, how many it is split, I do not know. That I will be able to amend that.
When you assert that integration is not possible, and also maybe sovereignty and all that, which I don't want, I would not want you to get into, but is there like a negation, or would you say, like how then do you correct historical injustices if you say integration is not possible? And also, does it not, do you not feel like it's undermining people's aspirations, aspirations of different people's groups?
You see, it's a personal view. Some people may be dreaming and all these things, but I am only talking with my own experience, what I knew. I've given this 1837 boundary. We talk whenever our people talk about Myanmar, Konyak, Myanmar Naga. Not possible. See, 1837 boundary I said about Assam and then Burma boundary. Then 24th December 1875, the Kikon notification defining the district boundary of Naga district of Assam and then Lokang and then Sipsakor like that. So again, this Tirap boundary, all this thing. So we want to come together, but the historical events, the factual, it is factual. I am not against bringing these people. My own people, I said, my own people are there in Burma. My own people, this one Jews are at Tirapa or Konyak. But then, how can I, knowing fully well that it is not possible. I cannot go on talking to people, yes, that's not, yes, they're following them, I cannot. And another thing about this sovereignty also. If you want to find it without going underground also, like Gandhiji, peacefully sitting without taxing, without collecting tax, they can go on talking. But you see, in a democracy, we have to honor the differences. My personal view. I'm only giving what I know, what I think. Yeah. I don't ask others to follow me, but I'm only telling what I feel is the truth. And I must tell our younger generation that they should know the factual thing. Otherwise, how many years without anything you can go on like this? And I told one day, Adam, 2002, 22, I think, when this COVID, I never thought that living inside others, my own tribe of Konyaks, so many girls, so many boys coming back, nah? So, why? Because there is no opportunity here, employment opportunity. If somebody want to set up industries, start taxing. If someone want to separate or run a shop, get the tax. So there should be peace, settlement should be there. What is possible, what the government is there, can make a little amendment. If bigger than amendment, if we get something better than the state done, by amendment in a different way, I think we should accept. And later, Manipur Naga should also get some sort of autonomy, Arunachal also, Assam also. But just going on talking the same thing, which is not going to happen, we are wasting our time, and our younger generations are learning, our people are growing up. There's no industry. So, I feel that whether someone agree or not with me, I think it is what we are. I also want a sovereign country. I want Naga sovereign, but it doesn't possible. So, reality, we have to set the ground reality. That is only my point. I am not against sovereignty, but even if I want, I think we are not going to achieve the Naga sovereignty. That is the. Tomorrow he said, Chingwang is doing also something. But what I know, what I think, what I can say, I am telling that. I think the only solution is now. I have given in my book. So many opportunity was given, starting from the federal. 9 rounds of talk with the official level, 6 rounds of talk with the prime minister level, and after that, after all this thing, I am talk with the IM and then design a framework agreement. The NNGP, they had a ceasefire, they had a talk, and they also signed a great position. Now this settlement, this is settled. If they cannot, then I say that in democracy, it is the voice of the people. So MPs and MLAs should decide and then ask the Naga people, what should we do? Are we not in the democratic country? So, the mandate in democracy is the elected people. So if the different group of mission workers, if they cannot come together and settle, you cannot allow them to go forever like this. Started the problem, now there must be an end to it. So if he said he cannot come together, he cannot settle problem. Then people representatives should come forward and get the mandate from the people that in them side. That is my opinion. Whether somebody like it or not. So we cannot prolong indefinitely. As one fellow said, so many group independently, even if we get it will be only one, not every group will not be given the independent. That's all.
So I'd like to give more time to all of you, but we've already spent more than 1.5 hours. I'd like to conclude by thanking all of you for coming to this book release and this conversation. Sir Chingwang Konyak is the President Emeritus of the Naga People's Front. And we have heard his opinions, his thoughts, and his reflections on the Naga political movement. And we are happy to facilitate a conversation like this with every political leader who wants to share their thoughts and reflections on the Naga political movement. As he rightly pointed out, this is his personal opinion, and he has made time to write and come to have a discussion on this. Definitely, you would have noticed that the reflections on the past historical moments, like when they signed the 9-point agreement or 16-point agreement, when the Naga People's Convention was formed, which led to the creation of the state of Nagaland. All those periods, I mean, he also mentions, he also writes about the Shillong Accord in 1975. So there are ample arenas where there were contestations, differences in the past among Naga leaders as well. On starting right from the issue of sovereignty, integration, and the formation and the composition of even Naga National Council. So it's something which will continue as long as Nagas exist. And this debate must continue. I feel that a conversation like this is much needed because our younger generation needs to first relearn and revisit our own history, then have an informed discussion on the politics of the day. And that is our agenda. Our position is very clear. We're not here to promote one idea or the other, but to have a conversation, a meaningful and informed conversation at that, on all things Naga. So we want to thank the President Emeritus of the Naga People's Front for coming and sharing his opinion on the various political and historical aspects of the Naga people. And I want to thank Pastor Supong for gracing us with your prayer, presence, and for dedicating the book. I want to thank all the team members of Silk Root Papers who involved in the creation of this. This is a humble beginning, and I wish them all the best in the days to come. There will be a book signing by the author right there where you see the table. And for the refreshment, you have to go to that site and purchase of the book as well. So with that, let's give him a huge round of applause.